Hello, everyone. Welcome back to First Listen Media. Today, I am with two members of the band Svn.Seeker. What's up, guys?
Hi. Sorry.
How's it going?
Burps.
Doing good. How you guys doing on this lovely evening?
I'm tired. I have a review to write, and I just want to play Zelda and then go to bed.
Which Zelda game are you playing right now?
I went back to Breath of the Wild because seasonal depression's a thing.
That's a good title. All right, let's get started. All right, where did this band begin?
It began in a deep depression is the best way I can start this off with. No, long story short, I kind of felt like burnt out or like bummed out, I guess, after I left my old band and gave it about a year. And me and the bassist Rob, shout out OB, we started jamming for a little while just to kind of do something. And then one thing led to another. We managed to click really well. Started wanting to do it more seriously. So then we're discussing like, hey, we need a rhythm section. We need a drummer. We need a bassist. He sent Pat the files that I sent him. I think Guitar Pro files that I had. And Pat seemed to dig them back when you were living in Mass, right, Pat?
Yeah. I had known Rob from like middle school and high school, but I was living up in Mass at the time. And we had jammed. I jammed with Rob a decent amount in the past, but never anything like formal. So once he mentioned that he was jamming with Nikita, I hadn't met Nikita, but I'd heard about him from some mutual friends and stuff. So once I was already planning on potentially moving back, but honestly, once we were able to start getting stuff going, it was like, all right, let's do this. That was really what pushed me back to finally moving back to Connecticut. And honestly, we hit it off right from there.
Yeah, and I mean, Rob moved over to bass because we had a tough time agreeing and finding a bass player. So I knew my friend Jeff, who I initially extended that offer to, but he wasn't comfortable. However, guitar was his main instrument, so we kind of hit it off from there. Played shows, recorded, played some more shows. The pandemic hit, and now we just send each other memes and jam and practice bass in Bristol.
That first part about the depression, I feel that so much.
Oh yeah, I'm still feeling it.
That's what got me into songwriting in the first place. Because I write my own lyrics. I'm trying to make my own band, but a lot of my lyrics have been depressive as hell.
I mean, have you heard Swallow the Sun?
Yes.
Have you heard Ataraxy?
Yes, I have.
So, there's a market for it. It's not a big market. Funeral Doom's a thing for a reason, though.
I mean, honestly, the most depressive music is also the most realistic because it comes from the soul. Hence why I love like a lot of heavy metal. Because even though it's depressive as fuck, you're not alone.
Oh yeah. No, that's 100,000% true. I'm not the first guy to write about wanting to kill himself, but I definitely won't be the last.
That's what mine's about too. Mine's about my fucking 19 attempts. Jesus.
Oof. Yike.
Don't worry. I'm no longer like that. I'm good now.
I was about to say, at least they all failed.
Thank goodness for that. All right. My next question is, where did the band name come from?
So we were toying around with a bunch of different. I think we were just kind of like really brainstorming names, Rob and I. And he sent me a couple that he had ideas for. And one of them was Svn.Seeker, spelled normally. And I was like, hell yeah, I kind of like that. I did the quick metal archives check, and there weren't any metal bands named Svn.Seeker the way I spelled it out. So I was like, hell yeah, that's going to be the name. And then we did a bit more research outside of metal, and it's like, oh, there's like a couple like folk indie bands that have a decent following, a couple of like other people who have followings under the name. And I go, well, F it. I like the name and I'm not getting sued. So I put a V in it, slapped a period in it, and I'm like, you can't claim copyright infringement if it's spelled completely differently. The name comes from more or less like we all like Dark Souls. We're all just a bunch of nerds like every other metal band, really. And so Svn.Seeker is kind of like a description for Solera of Astora, who's constantly looking for his son. Anyone who knows Dark Souls will know the reference, and it gets sad. But I kind of spun it into like seeking the sun is kind of like me seeking happiness or, purpose kind of thing. And it sort of drives the band, I feel. But reality, we're just a bunch of video game nerds, and we took a video game thing and twisted it. I think that's the best way to put it. I don't know. A lot of the formative stuff was just me and Rob, and then once Pat came along, we were just like, all right, we got blast beats, let's go.
That's amazing. I love that. Fucking Dark Souls.
Yeah,
The one game where I raged so fucking hard, I quit the day I started.
You're not the only one, but it's okay. You should go back to it.
I might consider it. I really might.
You
A
should.
lot of friends been talking me into playing it again, so I may just have to do that.
Yeah, just give it a shot.
All right. My next question is: describe your sound.
Well, we have blast beats, we have riffs, and I try to rip off Arsis quite a bit. I mean, I right now I tend to write a lot of the songs and have a lot of the musical direction, and I'm thankful that the rest of the band's basically on the same wavelength. Like numerous times I've like written songs with no drum parts, and I was trying to figure them out. And Pat's like, "I got this." Wood sheds it for like a couple weeks, and he goes, "All right, let me do this." And 90% of the time, it fits my vision. But basically, we're a melodic death, more or less like at the core, it's a melodic death metal band. But I pull a lot from bands of that ilk. So, but the kind of top tier like Arsis, Soilwork, the Absence, Hypocrisy are big ones for me. But I'll throw in like a lot of black metal influence because that was a big part of my formative years. Not all the best black metal, mind you, but still the Cult, Satan, black and white contrast ones. I'll throw in some orchestrations because I listen to too many video game soundtracks. And kind of just dabble within there while keeping it under the same melodic death metal, I guess, umbrella flavor. Not sure what the best way to put it would be. I don't know, Pat, how would you describe it as someone who doesn't have to like constantly sit there and suffer with his own riffs?
I mean, I always find it funny that like sometimes when we talk to other people and they tell us like bands we sound like, and it'll be like bands that we really like, but are like, I don't know that I really see that, but thank you for sure. I mean, people have compared to Obscura a few times, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like an amazing compliment. I can't play that technical, at least not yet, anyways, and stuff. But I don't know. I think a lot of it is we definitely wear some of the influences like on our sleeves in a good way. And I think that like, I don't know, when I listen to like Seeking My Own Son, we get to like the chorus, I like that, to me breathes like at the gates to me. And it's like, there's times here and there where I think we got a good mix of all these different sounds, but I think at its core, it's melodic death metal. And I would say too, that like, we don't go, I know, like I listen to a lot of like tech death stuff. And to be clear, if I try to be a drummer like that, I'm not there, at least not yet anyways. And I think it would come across as disingenuous. So I don't know. I think we kind of push the blend I know for, at least in terms of the drumming, I try to find that mix of pocket, and I don't want to get caught in the trap of just constant blast beats. I think once you get into extreme metal and stuff like that, that's like the temptation is to just go blast beat crazy. But I think we got a good mix of some rock stuff, some obviously more straightforward death metal. But you got to have a little bit of all that stuff. I think having that combination is what kind of will separate us.
We sound like Trivium.
Like Trivium, yeah, seeking their own sound.
I like that too, like the diversity in that, because I do think it's what sets you guys apart. Because having that mixture instead of just one main genre is what I personally love seeing. Because it shows that they're not afraid to explore more than just one type, because some bands are just stuck to that one specific genre. They don't try to branch out. I love seeing bands who do branch out. It's honestly a lot better result than most mainstream music, in my opinion.
Yeah,
No, definitely.
Good.
No, you go ahead.
I would just say, like, in terms of the EP, that I think the songs sound different enough from one another while still sounding like Svn.Seeker. I think you get a little bit of a different mix between them.
I mean, for me, like a couple of my favorite bands are Mr. Bungle and 12 Foot Ninja. Both bands that really push the genre melding like to the extreme. Especially with 12 Foot Ninja's first record, where they have songs that break into bossa nova and swing and reggae stuff. And then Mr. Bungle, especially the first album, which is just so inherently wonky. That's always been a thing that appealed to me. It's like any of those like prog power bands like Stardust or Unexpect, where they just go left foot, then like left foot again to make you just skip a beat. It's up. It's one of my favorite things to do. And while I'm not necessarily going to like probably go full blown like, all right, guys, this is going to be our swing section, I at least try to kind of pull from a bunch of different influences, not to just keep it the same like harmonic minor, tremolo pick, blast beat riffage.
Yeah. And I do respect that a lot too. Like I can feel it in the audio if I'm gonna be totally honest.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
appreciate
All
you.
right.
Glad you like it.
Speaking of music, what is your music writing process like anyway?
I sit in my computer room and scream at Reaper as to why this riff doesn't sound the way I want it to. And then I take a day and then I come back and I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that bad. A lot of it is kind of what comes to me in, noodling and at work, and whatever I'm listening to at the time will kind of like push me to try to writing something in some way. So I'll start with, it used to be I would just write things out, put them in Guitar Pro and send them to the guys, and we'd kind of go back and forth and then try to hash it out at practice. Now I have a bit of a nicer interface, courtesy of a recommendation from our producer Dave Kaminsky of Studio Wormwood. Shout out to Black Metal Dave, happy belated birthday. But basically I just kind of put ideas into Reaper and piece them together. I'll use a couple of like pre-made drum sample packs that I have, just go through like a freeware drum program to kind of get a general idea of it, and I'll send that out like piecemeal as progress goes to the guys and get feedback, like what works, what doesn't, how does this sound, how does that sound, until we kind of eventually come to a consensus. Then we just start hashing it out in practice. And I mean, I'm always open to suggestions and critique. I guess I've just been lucky that most of the stuff that I've written so far, with between edits and collaboration, has been we've been pretty agreed upon. We haven't had a point where like I wrote something and Pat or Jeff goes, that's absolute trash, can it? It's always been very open, and so it's nice. Makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And then, like I said, I always take suggestions if anyone has any, or critiques.
Yeah. And so far, it's been working out for you guys pretty well, because from the first EP, I love it.
Hell yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've had a pretty good response to the EP. I want to say I don't want to say like I'm super surprised, because listening back, it's I like what we ended up doing. It took a long time for me to like those songs again, but yeah, every now and again I'll listen back to it and kind of, I mean, I'll just kind of listen to it for the sake of listening to it, not even to try to dissect it, because then that's just a slippery slope. But
Yeah.
but no, I think that the response has been pretty good. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot of good things, and I think too, having like before we actually recorded it, having like Dave sit in with us and just like watching us jam to have a good idea for like the feel and stuff that we were going for. I think it sounds legit to me. I feel like a lot of times when you've got like an up and coming band, and like, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the older black metal stuff, but I can never like necessarily stand the like sounds like it was recorded on a cell phone quality stuff. And like Dave just gets everything so clean, and I think he did a really good job of just like hopping right in and being on top of like the sound that we were going for. I mean, I know I was messaging a little bit before talking about like, hey, what are some of the other drummers you like what are the sounds you're kind of going for? And I think being able to do that right away was really, really big and set us off on the right foot. So we've heard good things. Just gotta stay with it at this point. Truthfully, I felt pretty good about it so far though.
Nice. What was the lyrical meaning behind Seeking My Own Son?
I wanted to kill myself.
Okay.
No, it's not so much. I mean, that was part of it. I was in a dark place. I hated my job more so than I do now. But I think it's also kind of thickened my skin a bit. The idea behind Seeking My Own Son, the song, is more or less, it's a weird metaphor for contemplating suicide, whereas the soul is basically technically asleep while it's in the body, and it awakes when it enters the metaphysical realm by the end of the immortal coil, kind of thing. So the idea is that, the soul wants to awaken because it's like, I need to be out, kind of like I want to kill myself. The soul needs to move on to what it's supposed to do. But the whispers are kind of like the conscience, like the thoughts that people get, like, if I was to do that, my family would be devastated. I wouldn't be able to see my dogs. They wouldn't understand. My girlfriend would be devastating. Those kinds of creeping thoughts that get into your mind when you start thinking about that a bit more often than you wouldn't if you're like doing the nihilistic joke thing, like, I guess I'll just kill myself. It was at a point where I was more or less very considering that more of an option than most people, I think most people would. or at least I'm getting to that, you know, that point. So the idea was just that contemplation, the struggle of like, you know, should I do it or should I not do it? And ultimately the song ends with you know, nothing being done, I guess, in the little story, if you will. Nothing gets done, the soul stays. And it's, you know, it ends with like saying like eventually it's gonna happen, but it's not necessarily means like event doesn't necessarily mean that the body will necessarily die like of its own hand, like the carrier of the soul won't necessarily kill themselves. Like, yeah, everybody dies, but it's that kind of thing. Yeah, it wasn't a happy song.
Personally, I can relate to it, hence why I wanted to ask about it, and I loved that response.
Yeah, it's you know, it was more or less me kind of, I guess, venting my thoughts, getting it out on paper kind of thing. And in a way it was very cathartic, kind of got it out of my system a little bit. We all have that kind of like creeping thought every now and again. We all have our good days and bad days, but that was just kind of, I think, one of the lower points, and I needed to find a way to get that out. You know, therapy is expensive and music gear is expensive, but music gear makes you happier in the short term. So why not start a band instead of going to therapy?
Oh, I can relate. The funny thing is, when I wrote my first set of lyrics, which was about my own attempts, I literally wrote it while I was having a mental breakdown in the waiting room of my therapist's office.
Oof.
Yeah, I am so glad no one fucking heard me cry. I was crying my eyes out, like my finger just do the writing.
Yeah,
And
it's tough.
yeah, I have to edit it still, but unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to produce it myself because I don't have the lungs for vocal because I have some issues. So I'm trying to find a band who I can trust it with, who will make it into a song, because I won't be able to produce it myself, unfortunately.
Oh man. Well, hopefully it works out for you, man, because
Yeah,
you get it out there.
yeah, because honestly, some of the most heartfelt shit I've ever written in my life.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Best of luck.
And I mean, too, that's the benefit of it doesn't have to just be music, right? Any form of art in general, and just being able to express yourself truthfully. I mean, at that point, it's not cookie cutter or anything like that, right? You're able to do something based off of real emotion. That's the benefit of being able to be in a band and being in a band with people who've got, you know, similar mindset and the same level of commitment and stuff. It's exciting stuff, honestly. It's tough that like you have to go through that in the first place, but on the other hand, it's nice to be able to have that creative release.
Yeah, it's also nice because the pain itself, even though it's unbearable at first, a lot of good can result of it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's how I started this shit up anyway. All right,
Hell
getting back to the album, all the EP, where did the art come from?
So the art was done by the incredibly talented Kalen Stockermans. I heard about him because my buddies in Fires in the Distance used him, and they used well, back when they were Archaic, or at least the guys were doing Archaic Decapitator. He did their last EP too, and I really liked the artwork. And so I just basically got his contact info from his site and hit him up and kind of gave him my idea of what the album was about, and he more or less just ran with it. I had a kind of a general idea of what I wanted, but it wasn't very, like, I didn't have a set idea. I'm like, oh, I want the spire and the bodies, you know, in chains being pulled to it. I didn't have that set in stone. I just kind of had a very vague idea of what I wanted to do, and he just kind of rolled with it. You know, I gave him a couple like reference images of like basically old school Dan Seagrave, almost like death metal album arts and kind of color schemes, and he just ran with it, and it worked out like beautifully, I think. He just, you know, did it. Basically, we kind of just gave him free rein. I'm like, here's the idea, have fun, and yeah, he did a fantastic job. I can't say, like, I think one of our friends got it like framed on one of those like mail away canvas services where like you send them a picture and they'll like put it on a canvas or whatever. That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I would probably, we could get it made as posters. Probably, it looks really nice.
I never even thought of posters. That might be a good idea though. We got to do that after the Svn.Seeker brand, like toilet paper or something though.
Yeah, Svn.Seeker brand toilet paper would definitely be needed.
I would say too though, like, I mean, going back to the album art and stuff, it was really cool, like giving Kalen the general idea and then him being really high communication and just showing us his progress along the ways and kind of seeing some of his artistic process around us. We were able to give little tidbits here and there. It was mostly him going with it, but honestly, he was super communicative and just letting us like throw our 2 cents in here and there. And honestly, I was really happy with the end result. And honestly, not even just like the actual album art, but just like the whole packaging in general, like opening up and having the, I don't know if medieval is the right term, but the old timey like looking art and stuff, just really cool.
Yeah, he used a lot of older like alchemical almost medieval etchings in there, and throughout the little leaflet we have in there, and on the back of the CD on the disc. He did a fantastic job. Like I couldn't say yeah, there it is. I couldn't say enough nice things about Kalen Stockermans. He's like, as far as like an artist to work with, it's been probably the most pleasant experience, and I don't know if I could like be comfortable enough to go to another artist, because it was just so easy. You know, the guy does a lot of work. He is swamped. You know, he does stuff with Lorna Shore and other local bands. There's a band, Worm Shepherd. I think they're partially, at least one of the members is from Connecticut. He did stuff for them. He's done stuff for the Acacia Strain. He did stuff for Bring Me the Horizon that I saw that, but I think that was shot down by either their management or a label. Not sure which one, but he had the mock-ups and everything. He's just super busy, hardworking dude, but he's quality stuff and one of the nicest, swellest fellas you could ever talk to.
That's amazing.
10 out of 10 artist.
And Lorna Shore, they're local. Excuse me.
No, I meant to say Worm Shepherd had a local
member.
No, they're I think from what, North Carolina?
Yeah,
California.
All I gotta say is Lorna Shore's new vocalist fucking killed it.
He's good. I got a little bit of a medium hot take, and that's that like he's a good vocalist and all like the tunnel screams and demon stuff is cool, but the song is kind of boring. And like except for that one kind of like really cool heavy part, I feel like the song's kind of meh. And I think that metal vocalists need to stop trying to like pull the guitarist thing and overly impress themselves and just be good.
Yeah, you admit though, his vocals are something that is really good.
No, 100,000%. He's a fantastic harsh vocalist. The tunnels he can do, the breath control he has, like it sounds great. But like it's not. I feel bad because that's gonna be like the next trend in like heavier music is just doing all that kind of stuff. I've already seen it happening with other bands after Lorna Shore did that single or that EP, where it's just been like, oh, I'm gonna do my little snorting pig demon thing here. It's like, oh, now it's my turn to do the snorting pig. It's like back when pig squeals got popular and everyone started doing pig squeals and everything. And it's like, yeah, great. Just how about you work on everything else except for the pig squeals?
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it's a fad. It'll go away. And again, nothing like I'm not trying to throw any shade or beef at Lorna Shore or Will Ramos. Talented band. They've been around for years and they're still kicking. He's a great vocalist. I just think it's like it's good, but there's other things that should be focused on, I think, in music.
Yeah. I was impressed because that was his first single on Lorna Shore. Like that was his debut single, and I'm like, holy, like like you said, the control and everything was out of this world. I loved it. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. No, if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna make a stamp on the music industry and in this band, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah. I still love that, like that last minute breakdown at the very end. That was great. Actually,
see, here's the thing. Nobody remembers the rest of the song. They're just like, oh, that part. Everyone just knows that. But
I've listened to that song too many times. I love it.
But like everyone else just focuses on the part.
Yeah,
but no one's like, oh, that riff and like that chorus riff was great. It's like, no.
Dude, I love the instrumental as well. Like the beginning of it sounded so sad until they went right into like the heavier shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, my twin was being a little shit lately, so I decided to hook my speakers up, play that last minute of that song on full blast.
Oh jeez.
The cops were almost called.
Oh
Some of the funniest shit ever.
Oh no.
I'm
like, you know what? Fuck it. That was worth every second.
That was like at my old job. I was trying to like demo a Bluetooth speaker to someone, and I don't know why it started auto playing my stuff, but I I had like a playlist or something, and like I'm literally working with like this old woman and showing her the speaker so she'll get it as a gift, and it just starts playing Rings of Saturn out of nowhere. And the look that everybody in the whole store gave me at the time was just, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how this started playing and stuff like that. But hilarious in hindsight. In the moment, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just terrified this old woman. Like,
Plot twist, she's a metalhead too. Good
Yeah,
taste
right.
you have, sonny boy.
Oh, we only hope.
All right. My next question is, who do you guys love to collaborate with, whether it be opening act, in the recording studio, etc.?
Pat, do you want to take this? Because I have to think.
literally anybody or like realistic option.
Anybody.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Do you want to take this, or should I take this first?
You go first. I gotta think.
Because off the top of my head, there's like, are we talking living or dead, or just living?
You can do both.
Okay, because that makes it harder. Probably Mike Patton would have to be one of the first people, because that man thinks on like a couple of different like dimensions. I feel that would be fun to work with him. I wouldn't mind working with the Depeche Mode guys, because they have a very unique approach to songwriting, and it's like worked for the past almost 40 years. Actually, shit, it's been 40 years. Fuck. Sorry, that made me depressed. Devin Townsend would be cool. If Frank Zappa was alive, I wouldn't be at the level to play with him, but that could be kind of neat. Maybe Daft Punk, play with all their old like 70s and 80s synths. That would be pretty fun.
I am so sad they shut down their group.
Yeah, but it's weird because like they played live once ever, and then they just did like studio stuff and remixes and movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
The Tron Legacy soundtrack was badass, but still.
Yeah.
Pat, anybody you
I mean, I'm big into Dillinger Escape Plan, so I would always say them just because of the sheer insanity that they bring. I would say, I mean, besides them, like I said, we've been compared to Obscure, and while I don't necessarily see that comparison, it would be cool to just get some of that crazy heavy stuff. I mean, every time I go see Meshuggah live, just like the crazy lights they have. I know Nikita and I both like Between the Buried and Me, even if it's not that similar. It's just, I don't know. Some of these bands are just able to get such a good, like, it's not just a concert. It's like a huge event thing. If we could get something going like that, I would be all about that. So I don't know. There's a few different ones. I'm big into Entheos, so something like that too. Lots of good options.
Oh yeah, we could go on and on, honestly.
All right. My third to last question, but I got third to last. Who says that? It's
okay.
Next question is, what is the best piece of advice you could give to your fellow musicians and your listeners?
Invest in, so musicians, invest in learning social media. I don't care how well you play. If you're not online, no one's going to care. Music listeners, stop streaming. Streaming is awful. iPods are the way of the future. I love my iPod, and that is the most ethical way to consume music. No,
I still have my shuffle. Sorry to cut you off there. I still have my shuffle.
I got a modified Gen 5, so that's my main thing.
Nice.
But yeah, at least that's I guess stop streaming, and for musicians to learn social media. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say for me, we're playing extreme metal music at this point, right? So just go all out with it. You know what I mean? Like we don't have illusions of we're not going to be playing, ginormous Foo Fighter concerts or something like that. So I think it really just opens it up for the music to be a little bit more genuine than some other stuff. So, I mean, just lay it all out there. Worst case we're going to do, I mean, every single time we practice or we play a show live, there's at least a few mistakes or something like that, but you just roll with the punches and keep doing it. As long as you're having fun, you're doing the right thing. I would say in terms of listeners, keep listening to our music. That's the single best advice you could clearly have. But no, I mean, it doesn't matter what genre of music you're into, as long as you're bringing yourself over to different genres. I think that's the most important thing. I'll sometimes be going from extreme metal over to bebop jazz, over to Tame Impala, going over to shoegaze music. You got to go all over the place. And honestly, there's no, people always ask, like, what are the guilty pleasures? No guilty pleasures, just pleasures, man. Music's music. It doesn't matter if it's bubblegum pop or whatever. If you like it, if it makes you happy, dance, whatever, just go for it.
Oh yeah.
I love that because I can go from like 70s and 80s style J-pop to Beethoven all the way to Infinite Annihilator. Like, I can go anywhere. I love all genres equally. I'm more of a metalhead though because metal saved my life, but I listen to just about everything.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, my final question, well, second to last question, holy shit, is what is next for Svn.Seeker?
We got 2 shows coming up, possibly a third for February. I'm slowly but surely writing more stuff. I know we on Halloween we debuted a new song, so that's going to be in heavy live rotation for a while. Possibly recording a new single that's up in the air, but we definitely have work. You know, we got merch coming down. Now we got the toilet paper and the poster idea. So we got things. We're making moves, hustling, thriving, bing bang.
We missed our chance for the Wu-Tang Clan quote talking about world domination and stuff like that. But no, yeah. I think it's make it through this year and then just kind of, put our heads down, get back to work at this point and see what we can churn out from here. We are always going to be tightening up our sound a little bit more. So hopefully get to writing a few new songs figured out from here.
I love that. All right. Now it's time for the final question, which is my personal favorite. I say that every episode, but still is my favorite question.
Let's do it.
Do you have any questions for me?
You got one, Nikita?
We got what?
I said, do you have one, Nikita, first?
Oh, I was about to say that's for him. I'm like, that's a weird way to ask a question, but questions for you. Huh. Let's see.
When you've listened to the EP, what stood out to you initially, and which one of the songs on the EP was your favorite? Because I always hear drastically different things, and it'll be like people will like talk about a part that they really like, and I was like, I always think that's one of the more boring parts. So clearly, we have no idea.
Honestly, for me, I just like to sit through new music and hear the heartfelt emotion that went into it. Honestly, I can't pick one song. I really can't.
Okay.
To me, the entire EP was beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's too kind. Questions for you. This is weird. I haven't done an interview in a long time, and I forgot about doing this kind of thing completely.
What have been some of your favorite releases from this year?
From this year, let's see. Well, Currents with The Way It Ends. That was a really good one. I think that came out this year or last year. I have to check. But in terms of like this year, it's hard for me to think, but definitely Lorna Shore's new release with their new vocalist. That was really good. Let's see. Parasite from The Fall of Me, which is a group I'll be working with pretty soon. They're on they're on a label who I'm close with, so I get to hear all the new stuff as it drops. Averse has some really good stuff too.
Yeah, my boy Sung Woo.
I actually just worked with him yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, I've known him for like 9 years.
Oh, he's awesome. I got to interview him.
Sung was the best.
He is. He's so fun.
He's so nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna post his interview pretty soon. I said, I spoke with him yesterday.
Nice.
Yep. I actually met him at the Sunsinger show. I'm like,
yep.
Hi, I'm Sung Woo. Oh shit, hello. Can we do an interview? Yeah, sure. And I just followed up with him that day.
Nicest dude.
He is. Yeah, that's really about it. Sunsinger's new stuff is coming out, I think, beginning of next year, so I can't really say it's come out yet, but I'm hooked on their EP.
Hell yeah.
Like my favorite song is Hades on that EP of theirs, and Bloodborne.
I got one.
Okay.
Favorite local bands?
Currents, technically, since they did start in Connecticut.
That's true. I think Chris Wiseman's in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to hang out with him in high school.
You know the songwriter for fucking bastard. Because Currents their music is what got me into this. Their music got me out of my last attempt. Yeah. Like I heard the song Shattered when I had a blade to my neck. Like I was going through my phone, like, one more song before I go out. Fuck it. I hit random. That song came on, and I'm just like, okay, think, throw the knife away, and just get your shit together. And then I started this up a few months later.
Oh yeah. I think Chris probably would like to know that.
I want to work with him and ask him about the songwriting process behind that song, because I want to know. I want to know what went. Yeah, if I gotta find him. I don't know what his ats are. I want to find him.
Oh, I mean, his Facebook's just Chris Wiseman.
Oh, thank you for the tip. I will.
No, he's very from what I remember, he's a very nice, approachable dude.
All right, yeah, because
I mean, granted, this is 10 years of me remembering, but I think he'd be open to talking.
Yeah, because his music is what got me to start this program up. And I started this in January. Hasn't even been a full year yet.
Hell yeah, man. Keep going. Keep hustling.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, we have about less than a minute left, so we should probably
cool.
All right, but
fair enough.
Thank you guys so much for being here. This has been so fun.
Hell yeah. Thanks for reaching out. Fun thing, I went to that Sunsinger and a verse show then.
I think I saw you.
Yeah, probably.
I had the Sunsinger shirt on. I was with two dudes. One was tall as fuck. One was shorter.
Yeah, I think I saw you. I was just kind of like,
yeah,
it was a fun night.
It was.
It was a fun night.
All right. Well,
Sunsinger and Sunseeker will have to happen at some point, surely.
I already talked to Dustin and the guys about it. It's gonna happen.
Oh yes! I better go. You better let me know when that's gonna be. I'm gonna attend.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely let you know.
All right, you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you again for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.